The story of the word salary begins over 2,000 years ago in the heart of the Roman Empire, a civilization that dominated Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. The Roman army was the backbone of this empire, a highly disciplined and organized force that could march hundreds of miles, build roads, bridges, and fortifications, and defeat enemies with unmatched strategy. But even the most powerful army needed a system to keep its soldiers loyal, fed, and motivated. And in those days, the concept of money as we know it today was not widespread. Instead, the Romans used what was considered a precious commodity at the time: salt. Salt was not just a seasoning, it was an essential part of daily life. Without salt, food would spoil quickly, especially meat, which was a critical source of nutrition for soldiers. Salt preserved food, kept people healthy, and even had medicinal uses. Its value was so high that in some cases it was treated like gold. Because of this, the Roman commanders decided to compensate their soldiers partially in salt. This payment was known as salarium, which literally referred to the allowance given to soldiers to buy salt. Over time, the word salarium evolved into the modern word salary, linking the concept of wages directly to this life-sustaining mineral. Being a Roman soldier was dangerous and demanding. Soldiers spent long periods away from home, facing harsh weather, battles, and the risk of disease. The state had to ensure that their basic needs were met, and salt was a reliable way to do that. Not only did it preserve food, but it also symbolized wealth and status. Receiving a regular salarium gave soldiers a sense of security and loyalty, knowing that their service would be rewarded with something essential for survival. The salt allowance also allowed soldiers to trade for other goods, creating small economies wherever Roman legions were stationed. In a way, salt functioned as an early form of currency, circulating among markets and communities and shaping the empire's economic systems. The importance of salt in Roman society extended beyond the army. Roman roads, famously built for military efficiency, also facilitated the transportation of salt. The famous Via Salaria, or Salt Road, connected inland regions to the coast, allowing salt to reach Rome and other major cities. This road not only helped feed the population, but also reinforced the army's logistics, ensuring soldiers stationed far from the capital could still receive their salarium. Salt taxes were imposed, and control over salt production became a source of political power. Emperors understood that whoever controlled salt controlled part of the empire's stability, because it was tied directly to the health and loyalty of the troops. Interestingly, this practice of paying in salt left a lasting cultural and linguistic legacy. As Latin evolved into the Romance languages and influenced English, the term salarium became synonymous with wages or regular payment. Even today, when someone talks about their salary, they are indirectly referencing the ancient practice of compensating Roman soldiers with salt. It's a remarkable example of how everyday life and the necessities of survival can shape language in a lasting way. Few modern workers realize that their paycheck has a connection to a mineral that was once worth its weight in gold. Roman soldiers' reliance on salt also highlights the broader economic and social systems of the time. Armies needed to be mobile and self-sufficient, but they also required trust and loyalty. Paying with salt ensured that soldiers could meet their basic needs, sustain themselves in distant territories, and maintain readiness for battle. Salt was durable, transportable, and universally valued, making it the perfect medium of exchange. The salarium represents an early example of governments finding innovative ways to motivate and maintain large workforces, demonstrating that even ancient societies recognized the importance of fair compensation and strategic resource management. The story does not end with Rome. The word salary and the concept of paying employees or soldiers regularly spread across Europe and eventually the world, adapting to coins, paper money, and digital payments over centuries. The symbolic value of compensation remained, even as the form changed. Just as Roman soldiers depended on salt for survival and prosperity, modern employees rely on their salaries to secure food, shelter, and stability. The connection between basic needs and compensation is timeless, and understanding this history gives us insight into why payment systems have always been closely tied to life's essentials. Moreover, thinking about salt as a form of payment helps us understand how civilizations value resources. Today, we take money for granted, but in ancient times, commodities like salt, grain, or livestock were the real wealth. Paying soldiers in salt was practical, meaningful, and culturally significant. It kept the army operational, supported local economies, and ensured loyalty across vast territories. The simple act of giving a soldier a small allowance of salt could influence military campaigns, trade, and politics, showing how even the smallest resources can have enormous historical impact. In conclusion, the next time you receive your salary, pause for a moment and consider its ancient roots. Your paycheck carries a story that stretches back to the Roman Empire, to the disciplined soldiers who risked their lives on distant frontiers, and to the essential mineral that kept them fed, healthy, and loyal. Salt, in its humble yet vital role, not only preserved food, but also preserved the stability of one of history's greatest empires. And in doing so, it left a linguistic legacy that continues to shape our modern world. The word salary is more than just a measure of earnings. It is a reminder of the ingenuity of our ancestors, the value of essential resources, and the timeless connection between work, compensation, and survival.